Hello, I'm Alex, and my wife is an enabler. Hello, tarantula lovers. I'm Alex, and you're watching Tarantula Haven. What I have for you today is not exactly tarantula related, but you might be wondering what it is that I'm talking about. Well, a few weeks ago, about 3-4 weeks ago, my wife was ordering some stuff online for her garden, and on the website they have beneficial insects. So she yells from her room, and my daughter and I were sitting in the living room, and we hear, "Hey, do you guys want some praying mantis eggs?" And we were like, "Praying mantis eggs? Heck yes!" And we had just been talking about possibly ordering praying mantis because we see them online and people have them and they're in season right now. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to get them while they're there. Otherwise, they disappear for a while until next season, and you can't get them anymore. So yeah, we were pretty excited. My kids used to have a praying mantis when they were younger, and they loved that thing. And it was one that they caught here in the wild. In Florida, we have several mantid species that are native, and they kept it, they fed it, they watched it grow, and eventually it made an egg sac, and or egg case, should I say, and it died, and they were devastated. We kept the egg case, and not too long after that, or I guess by spring, the nymphs emerged, and we had a whole bunch of new babies. So we took them out to the garden and we let them loose because we didn't really know how to take care of tiny little nymphs of that particular species. So ever since then, they've loved mantids, but they're kind of hard to find in the wild, and they're very elusive. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to really keep your eyes open and see if you can find one. But we don't come across them that often, even though we kind of, every now and then we'd find them in our garden. It's just something that just doesn't happen. So we were pretty excited to get these. So when they arrived, they came in a little dram vial like this. There were 3 egg cases in there, and we really didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what kind of species we were getting. So on the vial looks like this now because, well, everything's a tarantula enclosure, so I'm peeling it off to make it into a sling enclosure. But it used to look like this. And the species that we got, let me check here real quick, was Tenodera sinensis. Tenodera sinensis. That's kind of a mouthful. I'm a tarantula guy, and I'm not really a mantid guy, so those names are a little bit unfamiliar to me. So anyway, we didn't really know what that was, and then I looked it up, and they are Chinese mantids. And come to find out that they're a giant species. So that got them even more excited. My kids, the bigger the better. So the thought of having a giant mantid was just something that was really exciting for them. All right, so let me get on with it. What I have here is a little plastic box that we used to put the egg case in so that it could have some moisture, and we've got it sitting on our aquarium so it could get some warmth. But this is the actual egg case, and the egg case is called an ootheca, and it's really strange. It's very spongy, almost feels like foam. Now, this is the top part where it looks like they've torn it from a tree limb or something to that effect, and then the rest of it is just these little cells that kind of go all the way down. So when the nymphs emerge, they just kind of start ripping out of this, and they just kind of droop down and hang off the bottom there. Let me move this over so you can see it better. So this is only one of them, and of the 3, 2 of them have already emerged. So I figured I'd go ahead and shoot this video because I didn't get a chance to video their emergence of the nymphs. And so I wanted to kind of set these up a little bit differently so that I could possibly get a video of it. Every single one has emerged early in the morning, so by the time I wake up to get ready for work, there's all these little babies running around. So hopefully I'll be able to catch this one. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's probably going to open up any day now, considering the other two have already emerged. They've emerged probably a week apart, so I don't know. This one is probably due to emerge within the next couple of days. In preparation of setting up the egg case, I'm going to set it up in one of these mainstay canisters, and I'm going to drill a hole in the top here, and I'm going to put a little bit of screen there so that they can't escape. But I'm going to leave the rest enclosed. I'm not going to drill any holes or do anything like that because I want to maintain moisture in there, the humidity. So first of all, I just need to cut open a hole in the top there. So I've got my drill with my hole cutter. So there's already a little hole there, or I guess a divot. So I'm going to use that to center it as best as I can. All right, and there we go. So the next step is for me to take this lid and put some screen mesh in here. So I've got the, I've went ahead and taken the liberty of cutting out a screen mesh that's going to fit right in there. And I'm going to use hot glue to glue it in. And yeah, let me go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to glue all the way around. Throw the mesh on top and just kind of tack it down. Missed a little spot right there, so I'm going to go ahead and put some there. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so now that I've got my screen mesh in place, now I can use that to go ahead and screw that down, and I don't have any escapes from that. So the next step would be to prepare the inside, and I don't want to put any substrate in there. I want something that's easy to clean. So I'm just going to put a paper towel in there and put it toward the bottom. And then take a little bit of water and just mist it. And now I'm ready to put my Utheca in there. Utheca. I mentioned that I was going to take a different approach on this. What I originally did was I had a container like this, and I just put the egg case at the bottom on the paper towel, and they emerged just fine. But what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to actually suspend the egg case on this little tree that my daughter made me. And the reason for that is because this way they emerge more naturally, I guess, the way they would in the wild. Plus, it'll help me keep a better eye on it so that when they do start emerging, if I catch it, I'll probably be able to video it better than if it were just laying on the bottom. So that's going to help me out for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of painter's tape and cut a little strip. And I'm going to stick some of it on one side on the part where it was cut. And I'm going to run it around the stick and then stick the rest of it on the other side, just like that. All right. And there we go. And I'll probably take some scissors and trim off a little bit of this excess right here, just so that there's not any sticky stuff that the emerging nymphs will get caught in, so that I won't have to worry about them getting caught and dying on that. Okay, so the last step is just to put the tree inside. As best as I can to where I get the best view. Close the lid. and let nature take its course. And here's one where the nymphs have already emerged. If you notice, the egg case is at the bottom, and all those little tiny things that you see in there are nymphs. Now, they're pretty good size already, I guess because they're a giant species. Their size is already pretty good, and they're already taking fruit flies. So I've been feeding them fruit flies, and they're taking them pretty well. It's kind of interesting to watch them eat. So let me see if I can feed him some, if we can get some action here. Again with fruit flies. I hate dealing with fruit flies. Alright, so I just let the fruit flies drop in. And kind of watch things happen. We got a couple in there fighting over one. Let's see if we can see. We got two fighting over here. So that's it. I didn't quite get the feeding response that I wanted. It is nighttime. However, in the morning, I get a much higher feeding response, which is probably when they're used to going out and searching for food and so on. So, you know, they did eat for me, and I did get a few, you know, shots of them eating. But for the most part, a lot of them were still just kind of sleepy and not really going after the food. There's a lot of them in here in this jar. And I had asked for some advice from a friend. I'll talk about it in a little bit. And he said that they should be fine for a little while, but after that, you just kind of let the cannibalism begin, and they will begin to cannibalize each other, and they'll thin themselves out. At that point is when you start to separate them out. You usually put them into smaller cups, and then put them in different enclosures and so on as they get bigger. So yeah, you know, I can't handle this many mantids. Now, normally you would put these in your garden, and they're supposed to be beneficial insects. However, I was asked not to by somebody on Instagram, and they said that these are large predatory insects, and they'll eat things like lizards, and they'll eat things like hummingbirds. I'm sure you've seen that video that's been going around with the praying mantis eating a hummingbird. So they said that they would cause more damage than good if I were to release them in the wild here in Florida. So I'm going to take that advice, and I'm not going to release them. I will let them thin themselves out by cannibalizing, and I'll probably give some away and keep a few to let them mature, and hopefully get another egg case or two out of them and see what we can do with that for next season. But that's pretty much where I want to go with this. This is not something that we bought to put out in the garden. We just bought this to experiment with and to, watch them grow and enjoy. So before I go, I'd like to give a big shout out to my friend from Bug Realms. He is the guy that helped me out with keeping the mantids and how to set them up, how to set up the egg cases and so on. He's the one I went to when I first got them, because there was not quite a whole lot of information that came with the egg cases. And so I, got with him on the YouTube community, and I asked him, what do I do? How do I take care of these things so that they will emerge? And he pretty much gave me the information that I just presented to you. So if you haven't seen Bug Realms, go check out his YouTube channel. He is an insect guy. He's a bug guy. He does have some tarantulas, but he has all kinds of insects. One of the main things he seems to keep are phasmids, and those are like leaf bugs and things like that. And he keeps mantids as well, and he's a very knowledgeable guy, and if you want to know anything about keeping those bugs, he's your man. So go check it out, Bug Realms. Give him a like, subscribe if you want to see more of his stuff. And that's pretty much it for me. If you liked what you saw today, please give me a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. Until next time, keep loving them tarantulas.